Content warning. Please note that this episode contains dark themes that some people may find disturbing for younger listeners.
If you think you might be sensitive to this kind of content, please listen with an adult or check out one of our other episodes.
With that said, enjoy the podcast.
Before we get into the podcast, make sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at This Strange World Podcast and on Twitter at This Strange Pod.
Welcome back to This Strange World. I'm Gavin.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Chris.
How you guys doing? Another week, another dollar. I mean, we're not making any money from this. What's that saying? Another dime, another dollar.
Another week, another dime,
day,
another dollar.
Another day, another dollar. But we're not making any money from this. But if you want to sponsor us, you feel free to sponsor us. Chris, This is my toss to you. Go.
Yeah, no, it's just good. Yeah, so Leah has put together another amazing list of SCPs for you. The first one was a big, people like the first one, so we're doing a part two.
Yeah, if you didn't listen to the first one, it came out last week of July 29th. I really recommend going back and listening to that. We had a lot of fun with that. How many did we talk about? Like seven SCPs?
Seven.
Something like that? So for those of you who did not listen to part one, which if you haven't, I would recommend stopping now and going back. But if you're really rebellious against the system and don't want to do that, Leah, can you re-explain what SCPs are and the SCP Foundation is and all of that?
Yeah, so the SCP Foundation is a fictional organization. SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. The SCP Foundation is responsible for locating and containing individuals, entities, locations, and objects that violate natural law. The SCP Foundation series originated in the Paranormal X forum of 4chan, where the first special containment procedure, SCP-173, was posted in 2007.
Wow, that's quite... 2007 was like low-key a while ago. 13 years ago? Wow.
Yeah. Well, when people say like, 2007, I'm thinking like, that was like, 5 years ago or whatever. But it's like, no, that was more than 10 years ago was 2007. That was like 13 years ago. And I haven't gotten over that yet. When someone says, that was in the 90s, I'm like, so like 10 years ago. No, it was like 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
I'm sure people who are older than us feel that even more of like the passage of time. So Leah, part one, you talked about 7 of your favorite SCPs, these creatures, secure, contain, protect. How many do you have for us today to talk about?
I have about 10 or 11 that we're going to talk about. So yeah, the last SCP episode that we had was really cool. I did list one of my favorites, my favorite. So if you go back and you listen to it, it'll be there somewhere.
Yeah, no, you talked about like 6 or 7 of your favorites. One of them might have been an honorable mention. That's why I say 6 or 7. But so now these ones. So you already talked about your favorites. But so this batch that we're talking about today, were you able to like them at all, or are they like the middle child of your SCP favorites, that they're not as good as the first batch, but we'll settle for it?
Okay. I think maybe there are like 3 or 4 that really actually interested me and got my attention, but I think the rest that I found were also just like generally cool. So I was like, hey, let's add it in.
All right, so Leah, let's just not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it. Let's go. What do we got?
So in the last podcast about the SCPs, I mentioned that not all SCPs are evil and have bad intentions. Throughout today's podcast, I will be mentioning some more friendlier SCPs as well as some bad ones, because they're kind of classics. Another thing that I'd like to add is that there is a video game out there actually called SCP Containment Breach, where you basically play as the guards in the SCP containment realm, and you have to try and figure out how to get past the certain SCP on that specific level.
Wait, that's so cool. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but that's like so cool. Is that like, do you know like what it's on? Like, I kind of want to play it. We're not sponsored, but that's like so cool. Is that like a mobile game? PC, probably on Steam? Yeah,
something like that. So anyways, jumping right in, the first SCP that we have is SCP-106. 106 is basically a vending machine that grants the subject a cup of anything they desire.
Do they have to say what they want first? Yeah. Or does it know what you want when you hit your button?
I'm not really sure.
Maybe you punch it in because you know how you usually do like B3. Like I want that bag of chips. Like that. Like you probably punch it in.
It looks like a vending machine that has almost like a keyboard.
Not almost. That looks pretty much. I think that's a keyboard.
Yeah, it's a keyboard.
That is 100% a keyboard.
That is a keyboard.
It looks like a keyboard on a fridge.
It looks like
Yeah.
one of those old vending. I guess not old. I think they still have them, but like for coffee specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that. I mean, there's an area to put in the money, and there's an area where something comes out, and there's a keyboard. Does it have to be that small, like of the area to come out?
I mean, so the link that I got this from is based off of what the SCP would look like in the game, since this is the SCP taken from the game.
Oh.
So
Do you have any more
this is-
description?
No, that's basically it for that one.
I mean, that's a really interesting one. I wonder if it's almost like animate and like if it's alive. That's the word. I feel like this one's similar to we talked about a few machines last time, like the camera that shows like what you want and like the computer.
The camera was there. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, the camera with like showing your deepest, darkest kind of desire.
Yeah. Well, I wonder. So it just gives you what you want, right? This vending machine is basically just the perfect vending machine. It gives you what you really desire. Yeah. Why would you want to contain it though? Like,
no, she said this wasn't an evil one.
No, I know, but why? Like,
because if it gets into the wrong hands, like who knows what people would try and get with it? Is what I assume.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Anything you desire, man. Any
so not
type
just
of
drinks. Like it's anything you want.
It seems like that, yeah.
Like you could probably get money, but like, what if bad guys are like, I want a gun, and they get a gun from it? There's no paperwork. There's no one's vetting that. There's no vetting process for what you get out of this machine. Someone could get a nuke.
Wouldn't that be a weird loop? You get money and then you put that money right back in the machine and then you just get money again. Like you just keep the loop going.
It's like asking a genie for more wishes.
Yeah, no, basically, yeah.
Exactly. I wonder if it costs actual money or if you can just get whatever you want from it, or if it's like you have to sell your soul, or like there has to be like a catch. Like, you know how like all genie wishes, there's like, it's a catch. Like you can get it, but you'll be turned into a frog or whatever. Like there's always a catch. Like I wonder if like,
or like the wishes are really specific. So you could be like, I want everything I want, but it's like, I want it to rain. And then it like rains for like 10 years straight and there's a flood.
Yeah, it does almost seem like it probably has to be super specific.
Yeah. So that one I thought was kind of cool because, hey, if you come home from a long work day, you want a glass of rosé, ask for a glass of rosé. There you go.
There you go.
All right. So SCP-372 is now kind of gross, I will say. It is approximately 2 meters long from head to tail and weighing approximately 45 kilograms. It has a long, thin body with 8 pairs of narrow limbs. Every part of the body is abnormally flexible, and the limbs are coated with small fibers that cling to almost any solid surface. In place of eyes or ears, it has a yellow sensory organ, which is capable not only of echolocation, but also detecting energy transfers, such as the electrical impulses in the brain of nearby things. It has learned to time its movement to those pulses, predicting the movements of any being around it. It uses this technique to hide, either by hiding behind the head of a person looking for it, or by hiding in their blind spot, which is really creepy because it's in your blind spot. For this specific SCP, it didn't exactly say what it does, but I'd imagine that it wouldn't be pretty because of the fact that it is using people's weaknesses to its advantage.
So it's kind of like this big bug that like you're screwed. You can't hide from this thing.
Does it kill you?
It's gonna find you no matter what. Does it harm you?
I didn't find out what exactly it does, but the fact that it's, using your blind spot and using the pulses that radiates or whatever as to its advantage is probably not a nice thing. So if you guys go to the Google document, you can see what this lovely creature looks like.
Google should sponsor us. Oh, wow. That is disgusting.
That doesn't look nice. That looks like I would find that. So, okay, so you said 2 meters long. That's like
2 meters long?
6 feet. That's like almost 6 feet long.
2 meters. Is that
2 meters long from head to tail?
I think it's a little bit shorter than 6 feet.
Oh my goodness. I don't remember how much a meter is, but
It's
wow.
creepy though. It's like bug-like, which is
It is.
really gross.
And like the legs are like kind of like spaced out. Like they're not like they're like evenly spaced out. So is its goal to like kill you, or is it just to like creep around you?
I'd imagine that, again, like I said, I couldn't really find anything about what it does to you, but I'd imagine it does some type of harm to a person.
So for the people listening to this in their car or wherever you're listening to it, what we're looking at right now, it looks like it's a long body, like a long snake-like
Like a centipede.
body. Yeah, like a centipede with, you said 8 legs, and the skull looks kind of like one of those dried up cow skulls that you'd find in the desert in those like really stereotypical desert photos. And then on the end of it, there's a big long spike that kind of looks like a giant bee stinger.
Yeah.
And so
Pretty good
that's what we're
description.
looking at.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what we're
got like a weird
experiencing.
pinch your mouth. Yeah, it's weird. And also, this specific picture looks like a computer generated. Like it almost looks like it belongs to like an animation. Like it's not a drawing. It looks like it's like a rendering.
Yeah. Well, these are
spooky.
all kind of like made up from people. So
But yeah, it's like people's interpretations
it's
of it. But, like,
exactly.
some of them look like Photoshop. Some of them look like there were some last time there were like drawings and stuff. But yeah, this one looks like it's almost like a computer rendering. That's a side note. Doesn't really have to do with what it is, just what we're looking at.
So imagine having that just pop up right behind you. Hey, I'm here. Okay.
Yeah, I don't do well with spiders as it is, so I can't imagine what I'd do with this thing too.
The next one is SCP-895, and it is an ornate oak coffin recovered from an unspecified mortuary. 895 causes disruptions in video and photographic surveillance equipment, disturbing hallucinations with variable duration and regularity corresponding to the camera's proximity to 895. If you're within a range of 5 meters to 895, the footage captured can cause severe psychological trauma and hysteria in most subjects. These disruptions do not extend to observers physically present within the area.
Okay, I'm confused. I don't know if I just zoned out for the beginning of that, but what is this? Is it the camera or is it the thing, like the screen?
It's a coffin.
Oh, it is a coffin.
Basically, it causes disruptions in like videos or surveillance equipment because I guess, let's say it's like you have like a phone on a plane. If you use your phone on a plane, it's going to interfere with the signal or the radio to the pilots. So that's kind of what, let's say the coffin is.
Where is this coffin? Like, is it if the coffin's near it, or is it just the coffin somewhere in the world can do it?
If it's in a range of 5 meters.
Is there something in the coffin? Or is it just a coffin?
It said. I think just a coffin.
Well, that's spooky. That also seems like the kind of thing that you wouldn't expect. I mean, it's like bad omens probably, and it's spooky. But people are probably just like, it's just a plain coffin. It doesn't have any specific weirdness about it. But yeah, strange. It almost seems like maybe it's like a haunted kind of thing. Like it's got like spirits or something. Like not some of these
more sense.
Some of these they're kind of like alien type of things. Some of them are more technical and like possibly inventions. But this one kind of seems almost like it's like haunted.
Yeah, that would probably make more sense if there was a backstory about maybe the coffin has a spirit that is surrounding it that would cause the interference. Because I was trying to figure out like why a coffin, like why not like
a box,
or why not like something that it just seems too specific for me. Like I'm confused as why it's a coffin and not something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, it's like, why are SCPs like the way they are, you know? So it's kind of cool. I could turn this mug that I have right next to me. It could be like, I don't know. I could turn it into glass if you sip from it. It looks like a regular mug, and then once you...
It could be filled with the thing that you hate the most.
You know what we should do for if we do a part 3 to this? We should brainstorm and create our own SCP.
I'm down for that.
That would be really sick.
That would be really cool. I'm down for that.
Let's create 5, like 4 or 5 SCPs. That'd be really cool.
No,
none of you can take my idea.
No, if we all bring together, I think we gotta create one collective. We all bring together characteristics and different things. We should create our own. And I think we should also create one using suggestions from the people. We'll post about it. You can comment and let us know. I think that's what we should do for part 3. is we can talk about some more, but also we should create our own. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. And if you like this episode, be sure to rate and review it. Comment, let us know, give us feedback. We always love feedback.
DM us for the suggestions as well, because
exactly, yes. All right, so coffin, haunted. That's our consensus.
Coffin is a no-no.
No. All of these are, most of these are no-nos. The vending machine, it could have some uses.
It could be a no-no, depending on who is in front of the vending machine. Depending
also on if, I'm saying for like us personally, like coffin free.
Yeah, no.
Vending machine maybe, unless there's some bad stuff that comes out of it. Or like side effects almost.
Yeah, well, I gotta say SCP-970 is actually not bad, nor won't hurt you in any way, shape, or form, so I'm gonna actually tell you a little bit about it.
Great.
Okay.
SCP-970 is a phenomenon where a collection of rooms are looped on themselves. In all cases found, this is by means of a series of doors appearing in the walls, all in a straight line, such that it is possible to walk forwards and end up in the same starting position.
Oh, that sounds like a dream that I had when I was a kid.
That almost sounds like those video games that I forget they're not platforms, but like the ones where almost like Zelda and like stuff where you're like looking down on it and it's like you're walking in between and you're like loading into different rooms, or like Pac-Man, how you go to the side and then you just pop out the other side.
Right.
That's what it kind of sounds like. There we go.
It's also kind of like that famous like in between door running scene, like Scooby-Doo had it, where they're running away from the monster.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, that's what I thought about when I actually first heard it.
Or just like kind of Portal vibes, like the game Portal of like if you're either
yeah. I don't know that game, but
yeah, just the
I'd imagine it's portals
in general, and like going through and you end up like that would also be interesting. Like if you then become if there's no other doors out, like if those are the like. That almost seems like there's a lot of space, but there's not. I would also be interested if all of those rooms are the same room, or like, could you see yourself if you turn around, or are they theoretically different rooms or like a parallel that like, what if you walk into one room and it's like different, or there's someone in one of the rooms, but not in another room, and you're almost kind of being chased through like the same room. These are the thoughts that go through my head.
It's like that loop, man. That continuous loop.
This is one of those things that like you hear about it. Like sometimes they have it in video games. Sometimes people have it in nightmares and everything. Where like you'll walk into a room, it'll be the exact same room, and so you walk through the other door, and then it's the exact same room, and you're like, I gotta get out of here. So you turn around, and then the door's gone. So you have to go through the door that goes you to the same room, and you're just kind of stuck in a loop that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
That makes me nauseous to think about.
Anyway, so phenomenons, we got things.
We have doors.
Doors, coffins, you name it. You name it.
What's next?
Okay, moving on to SCP-1048. This is probably one of my other favorite SCPs. Because, well, I will tell you why. 1048 is a small teddy bear approximately 33 centimeters in height. Through testing composition of the subject revealed no unusual qualities that make it disconcerting from a non-sapient teddy bear. 1048 is capable of moving on its own accord and can communicate through a small range of gestures. The subject regularly shows affection to individuals in ways found endearing by most people. Affection is usually given in the form of a hug to the lower leg, but subject has also been observed dancing, jumping in place, and in 2 separate events, it has even drawn childlike pictures for personnel.
That sounds terrifying.
That sounds like Annabelle.
Yeah,
no, don't bring Annabelle in.
It seems like all those like possessed dolls and toys and stuff. Like that sounds terrifying. Of like this like doll, it's like a teddy bear that moves. Yeah, it sounds like Chucky or Annabelle, any one of those things.
Did you say at the beginning of this thing, Leah, that researchers, when they found the bear, the SCP people, they couldn't find anything different about it than a regular bear, like a regular teddy bear? Because that sounds like a lot of stuff that's different than a regular teddy bear.
I mean, it looks like a regular teddy bear, but it just does really cute, affectionate things.
So you said but okay, so it regularly does affectionate things to people, like it draws them pictures. So it's just a cute little teddy bear that is alive. That is literally every kid's dream. They want their teddy bear to be alive.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
what this is.
I'd want this teddy bear to be alive.
Yeah, I want this teddy
Maybe
bear.
not the other one that I'm gonna mention, but this one, yeah.
Even if you look at like all those different movies of like Annabelle or more so, I feel like Chucky, that like people don't think it's like a creepy doll. Like they want their like toy to be alive. So it's the same thing, but then they don't realize that it's evil. So like you want this teddy bear to be alive, but then what if it turns out to be evil?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think this one is, though, which
That's
is
kind of like the thing with Annabelle. Is it turned out like a doll, but then it got evil.
I think what's good about this teddy bear is that it's not evil. So it's literally everything that a kid wants, their teddy bear to be alive and not have the evil whatever thing connected to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you two go to page, I think it's 7 of the Google Doc, you'll see what the cute little bear looks like. But
Aww.
that's what it looks super cute, right? Like you'd want that.
Yeah, it's a teddy bear. It's got a little bow. It's just like a teddy bear. Yeah.
It's so cute.
So which one looks like SpaghettiOs?
Yeah, so on the other hand, there is an SCP-1048-A. And I gotta say, this one is not as nice. Kind of like in the SCP episode 1, where there was a little fly, and if it landed in your mouth, it'd plant all these teeth throughout your body. Well, this one kind of has the same effect. SCP-1048-A is a teddy bear with a black bow tie, kind of like the first one. But the main difference, however, is that 1048A is composed mostly entirely out of human ears. Yes, you heard that right.
Of course.
Human ears. With a wide hole near the head region suffocating as a mouth. This one was really gross to write about.
Yeah.
Wait, so they're like bros? Is this just the evil version of it?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing that I'm going to get into. When a person is nearby, it will emit a high-pitched shriek that causes intense pain in the eyes and ears of everyone in a 10-meter radius. Directly after that, ear-like growths will start to appear on everyone in a 5-meter radius of the subject, covering the bodies in ears in less than 20 seconds. After the victims have been covered in all the ear-like growths, they will then die from asphyxiation within 3 minutes due to these growths manifesting all over their mouth and nose. So isn't that just such a lovely description?
That was a really lovely image that I had pop in my head when you were talking about this thing.
It's interesting, the idea of covering your body with a different body part, because again, like the one we talked about in episode 1 with the teeth, that your whole body gets covered in teeth. Versus now your whole body's getting covered in ears.
Those are like, I feel like the coolest SCPs is like, I don't know. I love that.
They're interesting for sure.
They're interesting.
Are these two different teddy bears like buds? Or is the second one, the evil one, just kind of like a spin-off of the first one almost?
A spin-off, I think. Again, this was a fan. What we're looking at right now is like a fan-made picture. If you look up on Google SCP-1048-A, next to 1048, this picture that we're looking up will pop up, and it's basically a bunch of ears shaped in a teddy bear. Just the thing is that the ears are all stapled onto the teddy bear. Kind of gross.
Yeah, just a little bit though. Just a little gross. It would suck if you got the fly first, and then you're covered with teeth. And then you find this teddy bear, and then he does the high-pitched screech, and then now you're covered in ears. So now you have teeth and ears just all over your body.
Yeah.
Well, what would you guys rather have, the ears or the teeth?
Well, did you say people die from the ears?
I don't
you die immediately
with
from the teeth.
I think you die from the teeth. Let me go check back to...
I don't remember. I guess the listeners will have to go listen back to the first episode. I'm sure we mention it, maybe.
Okay, so in the first episode... when I mentioned 478 with the teeth, I do say you can, however, survive from this SCP-478 with oral surgery, but you must do it early on.
Oh, so that's before all the teeth take over your body. I'm sure once they take over your body, you're done. But if you just have like all the teeth in your mouth, it's possible to get it removed. Okay.
Exactly.
So I guess I'd rather have that one than this one. Because this one, you don't even know that this little teddy bear is near you. It'll just shriek and all of a sudden you're like, what? And then all of a sudden you're covered in ears, and then you're done. So this one sounds much worse.
I think my decision's made up.
If you want to hear the teeth one, go back to the last episode and you'll hear what it does. So, introducing SCP-1025. This SCP is a hardcover book approximately 1,500 pages long. The front cover and spine featured the title, The Encyclopedia of Common Diseases. Readers of this book then seem to exhibit the symptoms of any disease they read. Simple enough, right? But like I said, you really, really better turn to a good page, or a page that doesn't do as much damage as, say, other diseases.
That's cool.
So depending on, you like turn to a page and you immediately get that disease?
If you read it, which usually if you turn to a page and you read it, it just takes like the title, the little title or chapter of the, like you're done.
Yeah. I wonder, here's my question about it. Gavin thinking too much into this. What if you read it through like one of those scanners, like those things that teachers use to look at a sheet of paper but like to project it, like a little camera, top-down camera? What if you were reading it through that, so it was showing up on a computer screen that you're not actually reading it, if you're not holding or touching the book potentially?
But you're still reading from the book.
Yeah, I wonder if you could put tabs on the different pages to like, or like if there was someone who would have done that to prevent it or to set people up to flip to specific pages.
You could do like, what the guy who killed Medusa did is have a mirror, look at the book from a mirror, and then so the words are backwards, and then just have another mirror to flip the words back around. And then you're not actually reading the book, you're just reading the mirror.
I mean, I see the loopholes that you're saying, but either way, you are still reading from the book. Even if you're not directly reading from the book, you're still reading from the book.
True. This one also seems kind of like a haunted one, like we were saying. That
I really like this one.
I do really like this one too. I dig it. I don't want it, but I it's cool. This one's a cool one, and also it's different. It's not like there's a lot of creature ones. We haven't talked about a lot of creature ones today. We talked about more creature ones last time. Yeah. But I do like the ones that are just kind of normal objects that do something that is kind of unexpected. So, plus, I mean, this is the kind of thing that someone stumbles upon it in a library, opens it up.
You better not. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I can almost see this book like being in like, one of those background things that's just there in like a Harry Potter movie, like in the library, like, oh, there's this really like, don't open the book. Like, don't open the book. I can just see that being in like a movie kind of like that. Like I can see this being a real fictional thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I mean, people believe that there are cursed objects out there like the animal doll or other objects as well. And, I don't know, man.
Maybe if you look harder.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to play with this. This isn't something I'd like to really
this is not.
At all. And this SCP is 1544.
It looks like a slinky arms, slinky legs, no head, just kind of 4 legs-ish, just one big rainbow slinky. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah. I was going to say like a slinky man.
Yeah.
But like
no head.
No head.
But what are your like emotions towards it? Would you be like, cool? Or would you be like, nah, keep that away?
It's freaky because it doesn't have a head. But
yeah.
It kind of looks like it parties.
It's giving me like psychedelic vibes.
Yeah.
Like
I'm interested in that story.
This is kind of something that you see like when you're tripping out on something.
Yeah. This boy definitely throws down.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Leah.
Okay, so this one is actually a really nice one as well. 1544 has a cheerful temperament and appears to take great pleasure in dancing. It will playfully nudge and bump personnel, though it will not purposely cause harm. It will only dance if music is audible in its area. Otherwise, it will display depression and will lay or sit down on the ground away from personnel. It will also become apathetic towards any outside stimulus and will refuse to consume any food. 1544 will not return to its unusual behavior until music is played once more. So you better have that music bumping.
So he just lives to bust a move.
Unless
Yeah,
there's no busted.
Unless there's no one busting a move or no music.
No music, so then he can't bust his move.
No music.
No music.
Yeah, no, this boy, we don't want this boy to be depressed.
No,
So
we want to keep it happy.
Come get your mans.
No, just keep the music bumping, and then
The
he's
vibes.
happy. He lives to dance.
He lives for the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all it does is dance. It doesn't it's just dances. And if there's no music,
Yeah.
it gets depressed.
Exactly. Isn't that kind of sad?
Sounds like most college students.
It does sound like most college kids.
Lives to dance.
I could do without the parties and I'd be just fine. But hey, if you're a partier, you do you, man. Just be safe about it.
True.
All right. So again, before I read about this next SCP, Chris and Gavin, why don't you scroll down and tell me a little bit about your emotions towards this? And I will say it is a mask if you couldn't tell.
Well, I led on the last one, so Chris, I'll let you lead on explaining on what this is.
I know what I'm getting from this mask vibe, and I think I know what this one is. But you know the movie with Jim Carrey, The Mask?
Mm-hmm.
The Mask, yeah.
This is like that, just a white mask instead of a green mask, and it looks almost like a one of those drama masks that's like smiling and frowning.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It looks like a smiling drama mask.
Yeah, but then it has like black lines coming down from the corners of the eyes and the bottom of the mouth.
Like the tears and
almost
stuff,
look like tears, but it's got like a big smile. Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like the drama masks of like happy and sad, but it looks like a happy one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's just say you wouldn't want to get too close to this mask, aka 035.
Oh, do tell.
SCP-035 appears to be a white porcelain comedy mask, although at times it will change to tragedy, kind of like, the acting kind of, hey, one's happy, one's sad. In these events, all existing visual records, such as photographs, video footage, even illustrations of SCP-035 will automatically change to reflect its new appearance. Subjects close to 035 or in visual contact with it experience a strong urge to put it on, kind of like Jim Carrey's movie The Mask. When placed on the face of an individual, an alternate brain wave pattern from 035 overlaps with that of the original host, effectively snuffing it out and causing brain death to the subject. Subject then claims to be the consciousness contained within SCP-035. The bodies of possessed subjects decay at a highly accelerated rate, eventually becoming little more like mummified corpses. 035 has proven to be highly sadistic, promoting some to commit suicide and transforming others into near mindless servants with linguistic persuasions alone. 035 has stated that it has intimate knowledge of the workers of the human mind and implied that it could change anyone's views if given enough time. The mask much?
When they take the mask off, did you say do they need to be wearing the mask to die? Or so what happens if they take it off?
I don't think they can.
Oh, that eventually they'll just die and
they'll just die and then someone else
whatever, and then someone else gets the mask.
Yeah.
This does give me strong The Mask with Jim Carrey vibes.
It's also kind of like Azrael's blade. Like it calls your name, so
right.
Lucifer,
it's basically just a big manipulative mask puppet thing. Because basically when you put it on, you become the spirit that is within the mask, or the mask just takes over whatever body you are as like a parasite. And that, it's kind of like Jim Carrey's mask, but it's also got like a darker twist because like it basically kills the host and just takes over the body until it slowly becomes a mummy.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's creepy.
It's like if the mask met Azrael, because they have the same kind of intentions of luring people and getting it to wear it or getting them to use it in a crime or something like that. So I would definitely stay clear of that mask.
Yeah, definitely spooky. This is a no-go from me, guys. I'm not down with this mask.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay clear of this mask.
That's a no for me. That's a pass for me.
And for that reason, I'm out.
And for that reason, I'm out. If you haven't listened to the Shark Tank episode, check it out. We talk about the worst and some of the best Shark Tank pitches. Another fun one.
All right, so this one is going to be the last one. This one is actually a really sweet one, just because it kind of warms your heart, I feel like. So
Yeah, I need that after that last mask one.
Oh,
I
is
need
this the last one, did you say? Or no?
Yeah, this one is the last one. Mhm.
Oh, and it's slightly better. Okay, all right.
Yeah. SCP-4999 will manifest only in the presence of one solitary human person at a time. All subjects recorded to date have been in terminally poor health, critically injured, or on their deathbeds, with SCP-4999 appearing nearby and within sight of the individual not more than 20 minutes before their expiration. 4999 will appear only if the subject is conscious and alone. It will not appear if the subject is comatose, asleep, or unconscious, nor will it appear if they are being cared for by, in the company of, or otherwise being directly observed by another person. Upon manifestation, the entity will seat itself directly adjacent of the subject's bed. If such furniture is available, once situated, it will remove a pack of cigarettes from its left inside jacket pocket and offer one to the subject. If the subject accepts, 4999 will place it between their lips, remove one for itself, and then light them both. If the subject declines, 4999 will light and smoke the cigarette instead. The entity will make physical contact with the subject, typically via holding their hand, placing its hand atop theirs, or resting its hand on their shoulders. This is going to make me cry. Okay. SCP-4999 will then remain with the subject, silent and unmoving, until they have passed away. 4999 has not been seen to encourage in any other activity or behavior and manifests immediately upon the subject's death. The subject's cigarette, however, will remain, providing only physical evidence of SCP-4999's presence.
That's so weird. Are these like old people? Like, do you think that it's like people who know that they're dying, or like?
I mean, yeah. So it says basically it'll appear 20 minutes before the person's expiration. So, but they have to be conscious. You know, they can't be in comatose. They can't be passed out. They have to be awake in some type of way. I think, could it be sleeping is my question. I think you're allowed to be sleeping.
Someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, wake up. You're going to die. Wake up. Hey, you want a cigarette?
Yeah.
Wake up.
You go to the doctor's for a little cough, and this guy walks through the door.
And he's like, hey, you want a cigarette?
Yeah, you want a cigarette? You're like, oh no.
Oh, no. Doctor's like, I got some good news and some bad news. This guy walks in and you're like, what's the good news?
But yeah, so 499
3 nines? Are there 3 nines?
4999 will only appear if the subject is conscious and alone. So that's the only two requirements.
It sounds like the angel of death.
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds like this is just a well, it sounds like it's a fan made angel of death, recast.
Yeah, I wonder if it shows up as the same type of person for everyone, or if it appears to people in kind of different forms.
So if you go to the Google Doc picture on the last page, you'll see this is what it came up as. The image came up as when I searched for this SCP. Like, a man in a suit with a cigarette.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
And Lucifer, I love making all these Lucifer references. Oh my gosh.
It looks like Lucifer, honestly.
No, but the thing that's like really kind of interesting about these as well is I feel like some SCPs also arise from culture, I guess. Because, again, another Lucifer reference. Azrael, isn't he the angel of death or something?
Oh,
like
I have
that?
no idea.
So, it's one of them.
As Azrael is the angel of death, yeah.
So I feel like SCP-4999 is just a reference off of Azrael or off of whatever, culture has this type of embodiment of this person. Or
that's kind of the Azrael is the angel of death in Islam and Judaism. That's like the name of the angel of death. So this kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting one to end on.
Yeah, I just thought it kind of like warms your heart. I I know that it definitely warms mine, even though this SCPs are made up. It just kind of keeps you like, oh, there might be like something there, whether you believe in that or not. I don't know. I'm not gonna force any type of stuff on you, but I think it's just kind of a really heartwarming thing to, know or like have made up, but now be like, hey, it could be like that. So I don't know. I was gonna cry when I was writing that. I was like, dang, like
It's
my heart really sank.
It's deep.
It's
really
way
deep.
deeper than the other ones that you've had.
Yeah.
Let's look back through. Let's see, Leah. So you brought all these, so we'll ask you last. But Chris, what do you think? Some of your favorites from this that we've talked about. What do you think?
I love the encyclopedia one. Just I love that one just because it's so unique and it seems like it's not practical as in a real life thing, but it seems practical in like a fantasy world. Like it absolutely feels like something that you'd find in some enchanted library is a book that gives you diseases.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the head when you were saying the that it like you could find that in like Harry Potter. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked the vending machine one. And like the possibilities with that, and like if it gets into the wrong hands. I also like the doors one. That one was pretty cool of being like trapped in that. And of course, I love the dancing boy. I love the boy.
Oh, I love the dancing guy.
Just wants to dance. It's a very cute picture. That one's also a really good one. I dig that one.
Yeah.
Just wants to dance, and if he doesn't dance, he's depressed. That
he
I can relate
doesn't
to
want to
that.
hurt anybody. He just wants to dance.
He just wants to vibe. I love that.
He just wants to dance.
Love that. Leah, out of all these ones, what are some standouts to you? You've been talking about your favorite SCP in general in the last one. So favorites out of these, final thoughts. What do you think?
Okay, so SCP-1048, the teddy bear, the good teddy bear, not the asphyxiation teddy bear. That one was my favorite, as well as the dancing one that you said was 1544. Who doesn't love to dance?
Love it.
And then just going back, I thought 4999 was a really sweet one because I don't know, it's just something about it that comforts me personally. And so those are like my top three.
It does. The 4999 does sound like, I mean, granted, I know it's a little deep one, but it is a really good note to end on. It's one of those really peaceful, mellow, deep kind of just like, it's just a calming atmosphere around this one. Like it's not here to hurt anybody. It's just, he's just there.
Offers you a cigarette and just sits with you and holds your hand.
I mean, I probably wouldn't take the cigarette, but like, it's just very sweet, kind of heartwarming thing, and I think
it is.
It's just very special.
Yeah, it's a good one. Well, I guess we can turn this into the ending. Thanks for doing more research on this, Leah. I really enjoy the SCPs. I talked about in the first one, I didn't know about what SCPs were, but now I dig it. I really like it.
Yeah. No, these are definitely really cool and like fun to research just because there's thousands upon thousands.
I really like the idea of, for part 3, us making one, and like we can talk about a few other ones, but I like the idea of like the three of us, we can come together, bring some suggestions. I think it'd be really cool if we created one and like posted it wherever these get posted, create our own one. I think that'd be really cool.
And to the listeners, if you guys want to do this, we'll look through some of the ones that you've created and we could possibly mention them in one of our upcoming SCP videos or podcasts. So, hey, create.
Yeah, if you have any favorites, let us know. Comment, DM us, let us know. Maybe we'll talk about it. And maybe we'll do a fan-made one. Maybe we'll take some suggestions of what to put in and we'll combine them all together. I think that'd be really cool. That could be a part 1. I like this series.
And you can make it as like evil as you want or as sweet and loving as you like. So imagination is endless, man.
I dig it. We'll definitely post more about it. Follow us on the socials. There's a little tag at the end. We'll squeeze that in. Yeah. Well, I guess that wraps things up.
So if you enjoyed this podcast and other podcasts, don't forget to look us up on Apple Podcasts and rate and review our podcast because we love hearing your feedback and we read them all the time. So
yes, if they're good ratings, rate us and review. If they're bad reviews, you can keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You can DM us directly. We'll keep it in a small loop of people. But if you've got good things to say, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Download the episodes, listen to them. We got how many do we have out right now? I think we have like 14 episodes out right now.
Yeah,
So we've been doing pretty well.
Yeah. We're nice people. You don't have to be afraid of us.
We're nice people.
Yeah, we got interesting stuff to
We're
say.
chill.
Yeah, we like talking. So
And
yeah,
any topics that you have as well for future podcasts, let us know because we might do it, and we love suggestions.
Always looking for ideas. Yeah,
Exactly.
we always need ideas.
Yeah.
We're now that we're doing a quarantine for so much longer. You know, we need more ideas. Just
One
sit there.
day we're gonna run out of ideas, and that's when we're gonna need your help to kind of help us.
Eventually, we'll just we'll understand the strange world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. That's it.
Exactly.
Well, catch on. You know what we always say? Catch you on the flippity flop.
Oh, I
Right?
thought it was
we
gonna be
always
like catch
say.
you on the flip side or something like that.
No, it's expect the unexpected. That's really what it is. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ah.
Want more of This Strange World? You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at This Strange World Podcast and on Twitter at This Strange Pod.
Now it's time for the sources. Oh, very close to the mic. We did not make any of these up. These are all from somewhere. I wish we had the creative ability to make all of these up. These are all great ideas. Leah, where did you get all of these wonderful SCPs from?
Yeah, so the first source that I used was the SCP Foundation link from Wiki, and the second source that I used was actually the SCP Containment Breach official wiki, which is the game, but the Wikipedia for the SCPs. So if you want to look up more of the SCPs and you want to know what SCPs are in the game, check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up this game. Now I'm interested in it. I'm very
Yeah,
intrigued.
it's really cool. And I just scrolled down and saw all these scary SCPs. So bye-bye to that page.
I dig it. All right. Any final thoughts? Epilogue of the show.
Live long and prosper. Enjoy.
Wash your
And
hands.
be safe.
Live, laugh, love.
Yes.
6
That's
feet
what
apart.
6 feet apart.
Wear your masks.
I think I just said 6 feet apart. I think it's late.
Yeah, I thought you had like fart in there. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Getting a lisp.
Stay in
6 feet
school.
apart. Stay in school. Well, unless you're taking
Don't
a
do
leave of
drugs,
absence.
okay?
It is okay to take a leave of absence from school if you're online
In
this
college.
semester.
In college.
If you're if you're in like
school.
6th grade, you should probably like go. If you're in like 2nd grade, you should like go. You probably shouldn't take a leave of absence.
Unless
if
you
you're-
get your GED and you drop out of school. I mean, you can
2nd
do
grade?
that. I know someone
Second
who.
grade.
Well, like
Or
there are
6th
like kids that are like really smart. Like,
Yeah.
That's
like,
second grade.
like great.
No.
Yes.
2nd grade? No.
There was like a kid who was like maybe 10 or something, and he was in college because he was that smart. It's
ridiculous.
possible.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
possible, man.
That's cool.
I'm barely in college and I'm 21. That's ridiculous. I don't want to hear. If I walk into a class and there's a 10-year-old sitting there, I'm leaving the class.
When they get into the
Yeah.
Ivy Leagues, and I'd be like,
I would
"Ah."
think he's the professor's kid. Honestly.
I would too.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's the show. This is the
You know-
end.
You know
What?
what we always say?
Yeah, let's all say it on 3. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Old
Winner
dog
goes
like
to
your
the
friend.
hot
Yeah,
dog.
Like you're
Get it up.
the slinky guy.
ready to do. Yeah, that's it. We all do the same thing. We're all on the same page.
Oh my gosh.
This has
All
been the
right.
Strange
Be
World.
safe, y'all. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.